Okay, so let's start off. My name's Frances. Thank you all for joining. I would like to take the opportunity to let everyone know that Stroke Foundation respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of the country throughout Australia and acknowledges their continuing connection to land, water, sky, and community. We pay our respects to the people, cultures, elders, past and present, for they hold the memories, cultures, and hopes of their peoples. And I would like to acknowledge that I am joining from the Warrandingi people of the Kulin Nation. So welcome. And today is really exciting that we have Lucy McMorron here from Gathered Here to talk about online wills. Now, I want to take the opportunity to let everybody out there know that Stroke Foundation is very excited to use this opportunity to also launch our relaunching our brand new David Brown Will Bequest Society. It was operational about 10 years ago and went away, and now it's back. And this is our way of thanking those incredibly generous supporters who have included a gift in their will to Stroke Foundation so that we can continue to work hard to protect the future against stroke, because every 19 minutes, there's another person having a stroke. Now, it is my honor to introduce Lucy from Gathered Here. We are going to talk about online wills. Now, I do want to say that Stroke Foundation, we will always recommend people seek legal advice in regards to their wills. Okay, this is something that Gathered Here will also feel very strongly about. This is not to replace any legal advice. Okay, well, welcome, Lucy.
Thank you very much. Sis, great to be here. Let me just share my screen. There we go. You guys can all see that okay? Thank you again for having me, Frances. It's really great to be here. And I can't believe that stat about every 19 minutes somebody dies from a stroke. It's crazy. So well done on the important work that you're doing at the foundation. But yeah, thanks for the invitation. So hi everyone who has joined. So as Frances said, this morning I'm going to be talking about, well, first of all, I'll just cover off on who Gathered Here is. Then we're going to talk about wills and why it's so important for everyone over the age of 18 to have one. The differences between simple and complex wills. And then for the last few minutes, I'll just take you through a quick demonstration of how to write a simple online will with the Gathered Here platform. But yeah, I guess just before I get into it, just reiterating what Frances said, I am definitely not a solicitor. So I won't be able to answer any sort of specific questions or about your estate or your situation. But if anything does come up for you today, I just urge you to get some independent legal advice about that. All right, let's move on. So Gathered Here. So we actually started 6 years ago as a funeral comparison website, aiming to bring price transparency to the funeral services industry to help vulnerable families make informed decisions, during incredibly difficult times of their lives when they lose a loved one. So making end-of-life services more accessible and approachable for all ended up becoming our mission. And in 2020, we launched our free and simple online will platform so that everybody, no matter their age, their location, their income, where they're from, so that everyone can have access to a free will and make sure that their loved ones are protected in the future. So over the last 3 years, over 30,000 people have written wills with Gathered Here, and we've become Australia's most trusted online will provider with over 2,000 five-star reviews and counting, which we're incredibly proud of. But I guess what we are truly amazed by, and my role is to work with hundreds of amazing charities just like the Stroke Foundation, is because what we've seen in those 30,000 wills that have been written is that over 60% of people and the will writers have left a gift, one or more gifts, to causes they care about. So this equates to future income of over, $420 million, which will help hundreds of charities future-proof their really important work into the future. So I think you'll agree that is quite remarkable, and it really shows what a generous bunch of humans Australians are. Right, now, the reason we are here is to talk about wills and why it's important to have a will. So I have a confession to make. Until I started at Gathered Here 2 years ago, I was like an estimated 50 to 70% of Australians who know they should have a will, but never quite got around to doing it. And this was even though I was well and truly adulting with, a young family, a mortgage, a dog, husband. And I knew that I should do one, but it was always on my mental to-do list, but it just never got done. And at that stage, I just had no idea how important it is to have one, no matter, whether you own a house or you don't own a house, the age you are, because, if heaven forbid something something does happen to me, without a will, there's, really serious consequences for my loved ones and also for my assets. And we're just going to quickly cover off on those now. So why is it important to have a will? So not having one can cause a lot of stress and confusion and conflict for families and loved ones during what is already a really difficult time in their lives. Without a will, no guardians can be nominated for children and pets. Loved ones may end up losing their home. It's likely that there will be an unfair distribution of assets where people that you would want to be included, like partners and friends, may be ineligible or not included at all in any of the division of the estate. If you've got assets that maybe your close family don't even know about, they may never be recovered and they just get lost, or they could end up being just given to the state. And I guess as well, so it's just having a will, and now that with access to online wills, it's so easy to have one, and it makes such a big difference when the time comes for your family. So now we're just going to quickly talk about the difference between simple wills and complex wills. So simple wills, as the name suggests, they are a really great option for people with straightforward estates and wishes, which is most of us, to be honest. Examples of simple wills are, prior to online wills, the most common one was like a post office will kit, which you can still buy from post offices. Obviously now with online will platforms, either free or low cost. So these type of wills are usually pretty quick to complete. Like in our case, they take about 10 minutes. They're convenient, and they are absolutely legally valid as long as they are executed properly, which means printing them off if they're done online, signing by the will writer in front of 2 witnesses over the age of 18. So as long as I'm using the same colour pen is another requirement. So as long as all of that is done, they're absolutely legally valid and, will absolutely stand up in court, going through the probate process at some point. And it's also with online wills especially, it's also really easy to leave a charitable gift to a cause you care about. Okay, in contrast, complex wills, they are developed by a solicitor. Usually it's a wills and estate solicitor in direct consultation with an individual. And because they're bespoke in nature, they are definitely more expensive than simple wills, but they are able to make provisions for circumstances that simple wills just cannot. So complex wills are super important as well, especially for, for people that have large or complicated affairs or estates, if there's overseas assets, if there's the will writer might have a family business or be a business owner that needs to be kind of accounted for in the estate. Complex wills or solicitor drafted wills are really important as well if there are family members that have additional needs, like it might be an addiction or problems handling money or medical or special needs, in which case, potentially a trust might need to be set up for them, which again, obviously that can't be accounted for in a simple will. If there's going to be exclusions of close family members, that would need to be included in a more of a bespoke type will. And if there's been multiple marriages and or blended children from different marriages, that kind of thing, again, it's recommend going to a solicitor and having a bespoke will drawn up. There are other provisions that these are just a few of the more common ones. So again, when we go through the simple will, you might get to the end of that and think, okay, well, that didn't account for X, Y, Z, and that is when you would, you'd most likely need to go and see an actual solicitor. All right. So that is the end of that part of the presentation. So now we're going to do
Lucy,
yes?
did you want to explain what that little QR code down the side of the screen is?
Yes, absolutely. So yes, this QR code here is, so if you need a will and I guess you know that you've got a fairly simple estate, and we'll go through this shortly anyway, but you can just scan this code and that will take you straight to the Gathered Here Wills platform that we've set up for Stroke Foundation. So you can access that anytime, and you get a free will and free updates as well for life, and you can update the will as many times as you like at no cost.
And
that is.
I should point out, yes, you can point your phone to your computer screen and it works. I've tried it.
Yay, good. I'm glad you tested it. Excellent. I think as well, you're going to send that link around, aren't you, afterwards?
I am going to send that link around to everyone, just in case I'm wondering why it was sitting in the corner.
Perfect. All right, so let's quickly do this online will through Gathered Here. So I'm just going to move that. Can you see that? Can you see that page now, that Stroke Foundation Wills platform?
Yes, we can.
Yep. Oh, perfect. All right. So this is as I said before, this is it's like a wills platform that's powered by Gathered Here, but we've created this specially for Stroke Foundation, as we do for, we've got over 300 charity profit partners, so they all have their own pages. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to create an online will. So this about section is really just basic information about the will writer. So we'll just do 10, 3. You can just pre-populate. We can find your address there. I won't worry about putting the phone number in. Let's put the year in there. Okay. All right. So this is where you get asked if you want to create an account, and that is so that you can come back in the future and update your will at any time. So I'm just going to do that. All right. We'll just save that one. All right. Gender. Marital status. Now I'm just going to do single, because if I do married or de facto, it's going to go through all the, actually, yeah, maybe I'll do married so we can see how the children are represented in here. So let's just add a partner in. Give him a date of birth. Okay, I'm just going to put my email address in there. This is just a pretend will. Then we'll go next. So let's say yes to children. I'm going to add a fake child, and I'm going to make him under 18 because then it will ask for whether, you know, who we want to nominate as a guardian. So let's just have one child, and there's the guardian. So as you can see, it's just pre-populated any of the names that we've already inputted into the journey so far. So yeah, we can say Stephen is it, you know, that's the husband. But if something happened to Lucy, Stephen would then become the guardian of the children. Pets, let's say yes, need to look after the fur babies as well. Okay, and then I'm just going to say go to next, and again optional to appoint a guardian for any pets as well. So that's that first section done. You can see as well on the left-hand side here is, I'm just going to go on to the next section, is really, we really want to make it quite easy and simple to follow. So we haven't put like too much information to kind of bog down our will writers, but it's just basic information about, you know, so in this case, it's who is an executor, what do they do, and who should you appoint as an executor. And then on the right-hand side here, you know, we've got, if anyone ever has any questions on the way through the journey, they can ring the 1-800 number, or they can just pop any questions into the chat bot down here, and that they get answered. Usually, if it's during work hours, it's usually pretty immediate, but if it's after hours, it can take up to an hour or so to answer. So let's just say we might add a different executor. So let's say it's going to be her brother, Greg Smith. And you put their email address in as well, because at the end of when the will is complete, the executors will get an email just saying that they've been nominated as an executor of Lucy Smith's will. Yeah, they won't get a copy of the will or anything like that. It's more just a notification. All right. Then we need to nominate a backup executor. So let's just nominate Stephen as the backup executor. That's fine. So that's, you know, obviously if there's the primary Greg's not available to do it for some reason, Stephen will be the backup. Then we move to the next section, which is about the division of the estate. Again, this just talks about how you can divide up your estate. So most people, or a very popular way of dividing an estate is by, you know, as a residual gift. So splitting it up by percentages. People can also nominate, you know, specific gift amounts or money amounts, and we'll get to that in a second. So let's say, yes, we want to nominate, we want to leave gifts to partner and son. And then you get to this second part of the estate section, which is, would you like to leave a gift to a charity that you care about? Obviously, the Stroke Foundation's there. You can either keep that ticked or untick it if you prefer to leave a gift. There's no requirement. You don't have to leave a gift to anybody. It's just there as an option if you'd like to. And then we have, you know, other charities listed there as well. If you have any additional charities that you want to support that aren't listed, you can add any in this add charity section. As I mentioned before, you know, most people do end up leaving a gift to, you know, more than one. But yes, that option is there as well. So if you can't find them in the list, you can just add them manually. That's fine. So I've kept the Stroke Foundation ticked. So now we can say, how do we want to split up the estate? So let's say we want to give the Stroke Foundation 10%, and then we just want to split the remaining between the two family members.
45.
45. Can't do maths. Okay, so we'll say, yep. Now we need to nominate backup beneficiaries for each of the primary beneficiaries. So this is for when, you know, if for some reason Stephen can't be located at the time of the estate being being distributed, or perhaps he has decided that he doesn't want to receive the gift for whatever reason, or perhaps he's passed away or he's disappeared and he can't receive the gift. So that's what, in that situation, we'd say, okay, Stephen Smith can, if he can't receive the gift, it can go to his surviving, to the other beneficiaries, or it can go to a charity as well. So you can go, and this actually happens a lot for charities. If their primary beneficiaries aren't able to accept the gift, it will just 100% will go to the charity. So we can just do the same for that. And then this next section is for those specific monetary amounts. So say it's like a $10,000 gift, or it might be a personal item. It could be, a property, or it could be a car, or anything, or anything that's of sentimental or valuable meaning to the will writer. That's where they can go in there and specify what they are, and they can also be left to charities as well. All right, and then just gonna go back there. All right, then so we'll just leave those ones empty. And then funeral wishes, this is actually not part of the official will. It's more just an opportunity whilst you're in this frame of mind of thinking about end of life. If you do have any preferences for how you wish to be farewelled, it's totally optional, but you can, choose from some options there, and any notes that you'd like to be included, you can pop that in there. And then the last section is just about whether or not you'd like to share your intentions with, if you've left a gift to a charity, if you want to share your intentions with them. And it's, I think it's, safe to say, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of you, Francis, and all of the charities that I work with, that they really do like to know, because they at least want to be able to thank people that are leaving gifts to them, and make sure they understand just how important that will be in the future. So hopefully people say yes, but obviously it's completely up to the will writer. Some people wish to remain anonymous, and that's absolutely okay as well. So we'll keep that as yes, and that is it. So I wasn't timing that, but I was doing a lot of talking, so but it's pretty quick. And then all you need to do is decide whether you want to go with the simple or the standard will, which is the free one. And as I said before, if you've got to the end of the will and you've said, yep, this is all I need to, there's nothing else that I really need to account for in my will, then, and 99% of our will writers go for this option because it's perfectly adequate to their needs. We do have a bespoke will option as well. And if that's of interest, you can look into that, and you can have a free call with one of our wills and estates lawyers. But the option is just there because we don't want people to get to the end and then go, oh, I've just done all of that and it's not enough for me. But as I said, 99% of people go for the standard or the simple will. So then you just download it. And it will come up as a PDF with some instructions on how to, get it executed properly. The computer's being a bit slow. Come on, there we go. All right, so you can see here just some instructions. So printing it, reading through it, making sure you're happy with it. And also there's a document number on there as well, that just to make sure that that whatever version of the will you're giving them, giving the, or telling the executor that it's the most recent one, and I'll show you that in a second. Making sure that you staple the will, not including the funeral wishes part, which is, as I said before, is not really part of the formal will. Finding 2 witnesses who are over the age of 18 and aren't beneficiaries, and also mentally competent and able to see you sign the will. And then the signing process using either a blue or black pen, with the 2 witnesses present and watching at the same time. And then I'll show you the execution page in a second. And then just letting the executors know where the will is actually stored, a copy of the will is stored. And they need the original will as well when the time comes. This is just a little note about updating your will. You can log in the future and make any changes. If you get a new pet, new child, a new partner, there's lots of reasons why, you need to update your will. And, we really encourage people to think about it every year. Once a year, we send an email to all of our will writers, just say, has anything changed for you this year? Please, update your will and go through the process of executing it again. That's just some more information again about the bespoke will service. And then just some other more information about, this is more for family members when they have lost a loved one, and what, how, Gathered Here can help them through that process. And then you get to the will itself. I won't take you through all of the clauses and legal blah, blah, but, it's all very much, being developed with, with our legal team, and is absolutely pretty sort of standard, simple will clauses in there. You can see that there is the residual gifts. There's the 45% to the family members, and then 10% to the Stroke Foundation. Let's keep going through that. And then we get to the execution page. So the will writer signing it, dating it in the presence of these two witnesses. And then the final part is this, the funeral wishes. So that's where, you can, if you fill that part out during the will writing process, that will all appear there. It's the end. That's the whole process of writing a will online with Gathered Here. I guess I open up to questions now.
That is absolutely fantastic, Lucy. I have a few questions that were emailed to me. You may have answered them, but I'm going to ask them anyway.
Go for it.
Is it easy to update my old will and replace it with a new online will?
Yeah, I mean, if the simple will is still is suitable and it includes everything that that you need, then you just do a new will online, and that will, and just let the executor know. Well, they'll get the email anyway if you do it through Gathered Here. And that will become your new your most recent and up-to-date will, and your old one will just become not valid anymore.
The old one. Fantastic. Now, another question is, when you're going through the online will form, can I stop it, go off and talk to my family, and then log back in later and not have to start again? Will it be saved where I left off?
Yeah, absolutely. So as long as you go through that bit where you're setting up the account, if you set up the account and give yourself a password, then you can log back in anytime and just keep going with the process.
Fantastic. And you answered the question about getting an update every year, but I had one, when I finish my will, can I log in years later and make changes to it? So
yes, absolutely. As many times as you like, and there's no charge for that.
Fantastic. Now, are there any other questions? We have a few people here. I knew we would be fantastic, prompt, on the ball. No, thank you so much, Lucy, for taking the time to spend with us here at Stroke Foundation, and to really reiterate why it's important to have a will. Like you, I didn't really think about it. I have one. It's out of date. So my kids have left home and I no longer need to make provisions for their school education. And this is a really easy way to update, move on without stressing too much about it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're so now it's we know what what happens without a will. It's just so much easier just to do one and it's done. It saves the family so much kind of stress at the other end.
Absolutely.
I think I mentioned to you before, Francis, I heard one of our solicitors say the other day that having a will is just good manners. And I loved that.
I think so too.
Manners,
I also think it takes away the need for family members to be mind readers.
Yes.
Now,
Oh
it's
my
a
gosh.
superpower we don't all have.
I know, exactly, exactly. So hopefully, I've just given the listeners, at least another tool. And there's other providers out there,
Yep.
absolutely. Ours is the only free one. I think others do low cost. But yeah, really easy to use.
And the other thing is, if you do have any questions, please feel free to email myself or any of the wonderful staff at Stroke Foundation. Reach out to Gathered Here. And there are so many different ways of writing a will. You've got online wills, you've got postal wills, you've got solicitors, barristers, you also financial planners can legally write wills. So there is quite a variety of professions that can accommodate that. But on behalf of myself and Lucy, I want to thank everyone for coming. At Stroke Foundation, we don't get to do the amazing work without our supporters. So thank you. And if there's no further questions, I will let you guys get back to your day, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.